President of Estonia, Alar Karis, thank you for this exclusive interview for Digi24.
Thank you.
President, Russian aggression in Ukraine is increasing, and of course that makes the NATO or eastern flank countries wondering if there are any other potential targets. How high is the level of vigilance in Estonia?
So at this very moment we didn't think we have any military threat, and I guess the same is in Romania here. I talked to your president yesterday, but what is important, it is important to increase the military presence here and increase our military budget in Estonia, probably as well as in Romania. What we actually also did, so next year our budget is 2.4% of GDP, so, and we also put some money for military purposes this year. So we have to increase our defense, and this is what we are doing.
Well, the Russian army so far is struggling in Ukraine. We see that they make a lot of mistakes. Also, the morale of the fighters is low, but in the same time, if Vladimir Putin decides to use weapons of mass destruction against Ukraine, what should the rest of the world and of course NATO countries do in this case?
I guess if something similar happens, like you mentioned, I think Putin crosses a red line, and then probably NATO will make a step, but it's very difficult to predict, and I think the mistake what Putin did was to start this kind of war. So this was a mistake, and but at the moment there are so many civilians and also kids who will suffer and are dead. So this is terrible times.
Yes, but should NATO in this case interfere or not?
In this case, I guess we should make a step forward. Yes.
Russia took some parts of Ukraine already. Of course, I'm talking about Crimea, Donbass and Luhansk, and had this habit before with other countries, Georgia, Republic of Moldova, just to give some examples. Isn't this time to show Russia what the territorial unity and integrity means once and for all?
For sure. I mean, Western world has been quite naive towards Russia. So we in Baltic states and also in Romania have been warning about this kind of behavior Russia does already many years ago. So probably this is now the time when Western world, and we together with Western world, understand what Russia's ideas are, and doing our job what we have to do.
Estonia was among the first countries that sent weapons into Ukraine, the famous Javelin anti-tank missiles among them, and Russia declared that this type of military convoys are also targets. Of course, prudence is recommended always, but is this the case to be prudent or to stand up and show who you are?
I think we should stand up and show, so because it's important to send not only javelins and anti-tank missiles, but also ammunition, and basically they need everything to defend the country. So, I mean, this is kind of threat. The same with a nuclear bomb. Of course, it's a threat and probably rhetorics only, but we still have to be aware also in this case.
Ukraine wants to become a member of European Union, and of course, although European Union helps Ukraine in many ways, in this particular case is still thinking about offering the membership. What is the position of Estonia in this regard? I mean,
myself also, together with our presidents, who proposed this idea that we should start talking accession to EU with Ukraine, and there are already first steps. That means there is a red light already, and the negotiation will start. But of course, it's a very long way to go to reach the goal. But Ukraine understands that, and the same with Moldova. So there need to be reforms done, as well as a number of other criteria. So I talked to Ukrainian Prime Minister, and he said that, let's say, 63 or 65% of his criteria already fulfilled. But of course, now it's a war. It's a different situation. But I do hope that this war will end and will continue this path and will become a member of the European Union.
Your country's experience with Russia is quite extensive because Estonia was under Russian occupation for almost 50 years. What are the expectations, if we talk from the intelligence point of view of your country, when it comes to the entire period this war will last?
Well, it's difficult to say how long this war will last, but of course we have information, and we also get information from states and so forth. The same is probably with Romania. And in that case, US intelligence was quite right, and because we didn't expect, I mean myself as well. And I visited Kiev right 2 days before the war started and talked to Zelensky, President Zelensky, and he didn't expect that this kind of war will start, but there are bombs in Kiev and other cities. What he did expect that, yes, there might be some kind of military movements in Luhansk and Donbass, but not in this scale like it is now. So, yeah, it's difficult to say how it goes now, but then again, we should do everything to stop this war.
Absolutely, but till this war will be stopped, we look at the level of the population and we see that people are, of course, scared. It's a normal reaction, even in our countries. What should be the level of preparedness of common people, not military, when it comes to the possibility of being aggressed?
I mean, one has to be prepared and have to have some kind of, food at home and then maybe water and so forth. So it's not only because of this war, but in general, you have to have some kind of resources back home. This is what the ordinary people can do, and in Estonia they are also doing this. So it is important, the same probably here in Romania.
The sanctions that the entire world and of course European Union impose on the Russian Federation will affect as well the rest of us, because we live in a linked global economy. How big will this impact be when it comes to our countries?
We see the effect already, so that means, but it's nothing compared to the pain which Ukrainian people actually have and suffer at the moment. So we have to take it as it is and find resources. If the prices of energy are going up, to find resources to give some help to our people and so forth, and diversify our sources of energy, not only getting it from Russia. So there are a number of means we should do today. So and so that's the only thing. And the sanctions actually work. We didn't expect that they work so fast. So we did expect it's a long-run thing, but it turns out it has its influence.
President Karis, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you very much.